Hello everybody and welcome to the channel. So today we are going to talk about a few important topics, and we are first going to talk about La Liga. So President Javier Tebas, who is the president of La Liga, he did have an interview with Movie Star, and today he did have a very important discussion and an announcement, and this is what he had to say. La Liga will resume in the weekend of June 12th. The first game may even be played on Thursday the 11th, and these are the official dates. And so on June 11th, they are planning on making a match between Sevilla and Real Betis, which is called El Gran Derby. And like I said before, Tebas wants to kick off this league again with a big bang, and it does not have to be Real Madrid or Barcelona or even Atletico Madrid. This is a great game to start off with. And so yes, it's basically confirmed that these are the dates, and we will move forward with these dates as long as there's no catastrophe between this time frame of today and all the way until June 11th. This will all move forward if everything goes according to plan. Now, I want to move on to the procedure that's going to be going on until that day on June 11th. And according to GERARD Romero, he stated that the league informed every team in La Liga that starting tomorrow, teams are allowed to train in a group of 14 players, which is going to be on Monday. And according to Jordi Martí from Ser Catalunya, he said that they have not been authorized yet to train as a collective, not until at least June 1st. So the procedure of having a group of 14 players is going to last until June 1st. And once June 1st does come, then they will be granted to train as a collective all the way until June 11th. And within that time frame of June 1st and June 11th, if nothing happens right, hopefully no one gets sick, then everything will go well, and June 11th will be the first day to kick off La Liga. And this is all going to be part of Javier Tebas' plans. And this is basically what we are going to see over the next 3 weeks. And with this very calculative planning, I think that we are really going to see that June 11th kickoff. And I'm going to go into further details on what that's going to look like once we do get to that date. So during midweek games, they're going to have games starting at 7:30 or 8 p.m. and then have another slot of 9:30 or 10 p.m. Then they're going to have weekend games, right? Which is what we're all used to. They're going to have a total of 3 different kickoff times. And one of those kickoff times is going to have a very early slot, which is going to be at 5 p.m., which is in their time. All of the times that I have mentioned is going to be in the time of FC Barcelona in Catalonia. So for example, for me, if they're going to start at 7:30 or 8 p.m., to me, that's going to be 11 a.m. And if they start at 5 p.m., which is going to be a very early start, that's going to be probably 6 a.m. for me. Now, the one thing that I really do want to point out is that unfortunately, all of these teams in the league will not have like some sort of mini preseason. What does that mean for Barcelona, right? Because for Barcelona, they must be very cautious because Barcelona is not one of the youngest teams in the league, which means that Quique Setién and Eder Sarabia is going to have great responsibility on how they're going to train these players in this time frame before we kick off on June 11th. So they have to get these players into shape. We can't afford to have any injuries when we do come back, and this is something that greatly affected us before this whole pandemic happened. So we must stay healthy. And at the moment, starting tomorrow, we are going to train in a group of 14 players. And right now, they're really focusing on the cardio, doing running drills. But once they do get to that point where they can train as a collective, they really do need to hone in that ball work and get used to having the ball again and play right next to their players like De Jong with Messi, Rakitic with Vidal, Umtiti with Lenglet. They really need to hone that in. And so there is a lot of work to be done between Quique Setién and Eder Sarabia. And there will be tough games ahead, and we must capitalize off of the other teams who potentially might not be in their best physical state. But that is where we're at right now. La Liga is set to start on June 11th as long as nothing happens within today and June 11th. And we are slowly going to get there by first starting with training with a group of 14 and then train as a collective after June 1st. Now moving on to the next topic of the day, and we are going to talk about Marc CUCURELLA. So we do have a very interesting report, and this is what Cope had to say. Barcelona have not discarded the option of recovering CUCURELLA if Junior Firpo Firpo is sold. And the main reason they don't want to fully rule out the signing of Marc CUCURELLA is because if Junior Firpo does get sold and he's included in whatever operation Barcelona wants to do, they will call up this player, which is why they say that they don't want to fully rule him out. And as for Firpo, yes, it's true that Firpo at the moment is closer than ever to leave the club this summer. And I know that Barcelona is not making this decision only because Firpo underperformed at his time at FC Barcelona, but I know that part of this decision that Barcelona is going to make with Firpo is that they're looking at this as a chance to bring in Lautaro Martinez because Inter Milan are interested in Firpo rather than Semedo, which leads me to this debate, right? If Barcelona do end up replacing Firpo for Marc CUCURELLA, would that greatly benefit the club? And I do have very mixed feelings about this move if this turns out to happen in the summer, and I'm going to separate this into two parts because it's a very complex situation. So I'm going to give you guys the financial point of view of this whole operation of switching Marc CUCURELLA for Junior Firpo. So starting with the financial point of view, Getafe did purchase Marc CUCURELLA and they have activated that buy option for 6 million euros. Now it has been reported that his release clause is 25 million euros. So if Getafe ends up selling Marc CUCURELLA for 25 million for like any team in the Premier League or wherever it may be, Barcelona is going to receive 40% of that 25 million, meaning that Barcelona can bring back 10 million euros from that sale. Now, if Barcelona ends up negotiating with Marc CUCURELLA in this summer, Barcelona has to pay 15 million euros to bring him back to the club. And that is the problem that I have with this in terms of a financial perspective, because 1 year ago today we had full control of this player, and now we are in a position 1 year later, which is today, where we have to bring him in for 15 million euros. So we have to make a decision. Do we want to receive 10 million euros off of CUCURELLA being sold to like a Premier League team, or bring him back and pay 15 million euros? And I have no idea why Barcelona wants to put themselves in this position. This is poor planning from the club because they basically lost a great player, and I know that it's not in Barcelona's interest to spend 15 million euros on a player that they had 1 year ago. Now I'm going to go to the other half of this, which is the sporting point of view. So at Getafe, they do play a 4-4-2 formation most of the time, and CUCURELLA does play on the left wing of that 4-man midfield. And at Barcelona, what CUCURELLA is playing at Getafe, that position does not exist at the club. And with CUCURELLA playing that position, his main focus is not to be very defensive because he does have a man behind him who does play the left back position. Now, the one thing to really take note of is that this guy, Marc CUCURELLA, is really good at pressing the opposition. And I believe that that is one of his greatest strengths, and that could greatly benefit FC Barcelona. But if Barcelona were to bring this guy in and we plan to put him as the left back, he will not be capable enough to fully function and operate as a complete left back. And I want to show you guys a stat from Marc CUCURELLA. We can see that his creativity is very good, his attack is very good, his technique is very good, and his defensive skills is very decent. And this is based off him playing as a left mid. Now, this is where it gets very interesting. If we compare those stats to Junior Firpo, which we can see right here, we can see that Firpo greatest advantage over Marc CUCURELLA is his defensive work. And we can also see that Marc CUCURELLA, that his attack and creativity is much better than Junior Firpo. And again, we have to remember, this is Marc CUCURELLA operating as a left mid. He's not a left back. So if Barcelona were to bring him back and he works on his defensive skills and he understands how to operate as a left back for FC Barcelona and keeping those attacking qualities and creativity qualities, then from a sporting point of view, this will be a great move, which means that it will be an upgrade of Junior Firpo. But this is only if it's taught well and done successfully. So let me know what you guys think about this whole swap move that's going to happen. Do you think Marc CUCURELLA has what it takes to be Barcelona's left back? Now moving on to the next topic of the day, and we are going to talk about Philippe Coutinho. So recently we heard that the Bayern Munich CEO, he did explain to the public that they will not be exercising Coutinho's current deal and will not pay the 120 million. Since that announcement that was announced to the public, many clubs are going to start making bids for this player, and Barcelona really do have to listen to what these clubs have to offer. So we do have LE10 Sport, Mundo Deportivo, and several English media to confirm this, and they have all said that Arsenal joined the race for Coutinho and even claims that the Brazilian is is Arteta's dream to bluster the team. And according to the same media, the Arsenal will soon begin contacts with his agent. So at the moment, we don't know what Arsenal has to offer, and we don't know how much Arsenal is willing to give in for Coutinho. But I'm going to be very honest, Arsenal right now is going to find it very difficult to offer a good bid to FC Barcelona because they are simply not in the state to bring in the Brazilian. And this report is solely based off Arteta dreaming of bringing Coutinho in. So right now, we're going to have to figure out, is Arsenal really serious on pursuing Felipe Coutinho? And then the second thing that we have to figure out is, what will Arsenal bid FC Barcelona for Coutinho? And it's simply going to come down to a loan from Arsenal. I think that's the only solution Arsenal can find to bring Coutinho in, because Arsenal is not going to bid 85, maybe even 70 million euros for this player. They simply do not have the money. But this does not mean that Coutinho is not going to be sold in the summer. There is still a big possibility. The Premier League absolutely loves Coutinho, and I know that Coutinho loves the Premier League. So we should really expect other teams like Chelsea, Manchester United, and any other team in the Premier League to bid for this player. But right now, Arsenal is reportedly making the first move. So now moving on to the last topic of the day, and I quickly want to talk about this one because I do like to address the rumors that obviously look kind of fake. So according to Sport, PSG are looking to Frenchify their squad and are very interested in Dembele. It could potentially bring Neymar Jr. closer to the Camp Nou. And so like I said before, Sport is not reliable at all. This is the type of rumor that we did hear last year. Right now, Sport is just recycling whatever they did last year and bringing it to this year. And I know that it sounds very appealing because PSG is looking to Frenchify their team with a duo of Dembele and Kylian Mbappe. But again, this is the exact same report that we heard even 3 weeks ago of PSG wanting to Frenchify their team with Kylian Mbappe and Antoine Griezmann. So if you do hear any reports about PSG wanting to Frenchify their team with Dembele, it is not true, especially not right now. Dembele is looking to come back to FC Barcelona and really make a statement for his club. So if you see any report that has the word Frenchify in it, it is not true. So that is it for today's Barcelona Daily News. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.